Hello everyone, my name is George Isagi Patimratobi with NIM 27023833716 and welcome to my individual video presentation. Today, I will be presenting my analysis of MNC and my study case Apple Incorporation Global Strategy with a special focus on its expansion and operation in China only. Okay, let's move to section 1, brief definition of MNC. A multinational corporation, or MNC, is a business entity that operates across countries or legal jurisdiction. In practice, MNC conduct corporate activities, business actions, and commercial interests in more than one country. As such, MNC needs to adapt to the legal system, regulation, and policies that apply in each of the countries in which they operate. Apple Incorporation, headquartered in the United States, is a prime example with operation, manufacturing, and retail presence across the globe, including China. In this context, home country is the US or United States. So the host country is China. When dealing with multiple jurisdiction, MNC have to deal with two main types of actors. State, such as the central or local government in the country where they operate, and two, non-state. It can be formal, like local companies, or informal, such as indigenous peoples, communities, and some entities. So in addition, there are two other groups of actors in the MNC environment. One, commercial, such as customers, vendors, competitors who directly affect the company profit or loss. Two is non-commercial, such as political leaders, parties, religious groups who impact social, political, and economic risk. I want to explain brief introduction of Apple Incorporation as my study case. So, Apple founded by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in 1976. As a multinational corporation, Apple employs a value chain strategy to optimize efficiency, expand its market, and maintain a competitive advantage. So in this presentation, I want to identify Apple branch-based to value chain activities, analyze the relationship between its home country, in this case is US, and host country, in this case is China, and evaluates the opportunities and threats in three key countries, China, India, and Indonesia. But in this presentation, I will focus on China only. Okay, welcome to section 2, competitive advantage and its roots. The concept of competitive advantage is central to existence of modern MNC. This concept evolved from classical economic thought. First, absolute advantage by Adam Smith. In this theory, explain that state should export products where they are most efficient and import the rest. Second, competitive advantage but by David Ricardo. This theory emphasized that country should focus on producing goods where they have the lowest opportunity cost, even if they are not absolutely efficient. Third, competitive advantage by Michael Porter in the millennial era. Departing from the dynamics of global business, Porter introduced the idea that advantage comes not only from efficiency, but from innovation, strategy, and corporate competitiveness. These three theories trace their roots to the doctrine of John Locke, who emphasized three basics: freedom of speech, freedom of having asset, and freedom of competition. Okay, welcome to section 3, motive. Motive is directly linked to the location variable within John Dunning-Olive framework. When a multinational corporation like Apple decides on a host country, the decision is always backed by a strategic motive. Each MNC has its own unique reason for selecting specific markets. Let me begin with the motive behind Apple's expansion to China. According to John Dunning, in his book Global Economy of Multinational Corporations, states that to increase their competitive advantage, MNC needs a clear motive for expansion. First, market seeker, looking for new markets because their host country, or I mean home country, market may be saturated or facing increased competition. Two, resource seeker, seeking resources because they are limited or expensive in their home country. Third, efficiency seeker, it's aiming to the production process more cost effective. So strategic or alliances seeker, seeking strategic partnerships usually to strengthen their brands, positions, and political stance in a country. So in China case, Apple. So in China case, Apple. So in China case, Apple is in this motive seeking. First, efficiency seeking. Apple expands into China to take advantage of the country's world-class manufacturing capabilities and efficient production processes. With access to a skilled labor force and highly integrated electronic supply chains, Apple reduces costs and ensures scale and speed in productions. These align with the classical behavior of efficiency seeker. Okay, welcome to session 5, Global Production Network in Regional Asset. After understanding this paradigm, the next step is to analyze the expansion motive and assess the profitability of the expansion. To conduct this analysis, we use value chain analysis, a concept developed by Michael Porter, which helps visualize how MNC expand across various regions. The value chain outlines how an MNC grows through two main activities. First is supporting activities. Supporting activities play a role in significant thinking and strategic framework, including determining the relationship between the home country and the originating country and the host country, like the expansion destination. This relationship is categorized into three main types. First, profit center. It's focused on profit. Revenue center. It's focused on sale, not short-term profitability. Expense center. It's focused on cost efficiency and production, not profit or sales. Second is primary activities. Primary activities cover the entire production process, from raw materials to finished products, such as first, inbound logistics. It organizes the movement of incoming materials, parts, and finished goods from suppliers to manufacturing. 2. Operations. It concerns with managing the processes that convert inputs in the form of raw materials, labor, and energy into output in the form of goods and or service. Third is outbound logistics. If the product is finished, now it's time to get it into the hands of customers. Outbound logistics is the process of organizing these goods to be stored safely and delivered to their destinations. They also take care of the flow of information so that all parties, including customers, know where their goods are. Next is marketing and sales. If the product is ready, but people don't know about it, it's unless or useless. This is where the market and sales of the team come in. They are the ones who make people interest, understand, and eventually buy the products. They manage the promotion, communications, and how the products can have value and reach the right customers. Next is service. It includes all activities necessary to keep products or service working effectively for the customer after it has been sold and delivered. Once a customer buys something and if that thing breaks, they don't know how to use it or they need help, the service department step in. They are the ones who keep the customer experience okay or better, even after the product is already in their hands. So, in the global production networks in regional assets in China, I can conclude that major productions hub for Apple is in Foxconn. It's like Apple City in Zhengzhou. Dense electronics ecosystem in Shenzhen enables speed and efficiency. Local logistic integration for rapid regional and global distribution. Apple cooperates with provincial government for infrastructure and labor policies. So in China, Apple doesn't just manufacture, it builds ecosystem. First, supporting activities, cost center. Manufacturing hubs in Zhengzhou and other regions. Profit center. Apple's Greater China operation headquartered. 3. Revenue center. Retail and e-commerce revenue from platforms like JD.com, Tmall, and Apple Store in China. Primary activities. First, inbound logistics. Localized components from Luxshare, BOA, and Gore-Tex. It's all from China. Operation. Assembly done by Foxconn and Pegatron. Outbound logistics. Handled through Apple distribution centers and partner countries. Marketing and sales. Custom campaigns via WeChat, Tmall, and flagship stores. Service. Localized Genius Bar. Supports team, Mandarin language assistance, and digital after sales for the buyers. Okay, welcome to section 6, Diamond Theory. In essence, this theory explains why a country can have a competitive advantage in a particular industry and why global companies choose to operate in there. First, factor conditions. It's about what some countries have, such as natural resources, labor, technology, and infrastructure. Second is demand conditions. How sophisticated is the demand in the country? If local customers are critical and have high standards, companies are encouraged to continue innovating. An active domestic market can also be a test field products before global expansions. Related and supported industries. Are they strong suppliers, distributors, and supporting industry in the country? If everything is in place and connected, companies can operate more efficiently and responsibly. Fourth is firm strategy, structure, and rivalry. What is the pattern of corporate management in that country? And how intense is the competition? Strong local competition encourages companies to be more innovative and competitive in the global market. Fifth is change and global. Change or luck, such as pandemic, global crisis, or technological breakthrough, change market positions suddenly. Now, let us apply Michael Porter's diamond model to China for understand its national competitive advantage. First, factor conditions. China offers highly skilled labor, developed in the infrastructure, and a major electronics ecosystem with the presence of manufacturing parts and logistical hubs. Apple can scale operations smoothly. So in conclusions, China industrial strength provides cost efficiency and production scale. Second is demand conditions. China customers are tech savvy and demand innovation. The premium smartphone in China continues to grow, and Apple dominates over 50% of that space. So, we can conclude a sophisticated domestic market drive Apple focus on innovation and luxury positioning related and supporting industry. China supply chain for semiconductors, display, batteries, and logistics is tightly integrated. Apple benefit from well-established cluster of component suppliers. So, in conclusion, Apple thrives within a major support ecosystem. Next, firm strategy, structure, and rivalry. Apple face competition from Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo. Each offers premium in alternative at more affordable prices, driving Apple to maintain its competitive edge through innovation, service, and ecosystem lock-in. So, in conclusion, strong competition pushes Apple to differentiate with a quality and service. Last, and is government. The Chinese government offers incentive in free trade zone and R&D. However, it also enforces strict data policies and cybersecurity compliance. In conclusion, Apple must balance policy compliance with data and protection and diplomacy. Change. COVID-19, geopolitical tension, and supply chain disruptions have forced Apple to reconfigure its manufacturing footprint, diversifying parts to India and Indonesia while keeping core production in China. In conclusion, external shocks encourage rich diversification, but China remains essential. Government policy and change also play significant roles, from incentive to data localized rules. These conditions shape how Apple must adapt in China. So, in general conclusions, based on Peters Diamond, uh, based on Porter's Diamond model analysis, Apple expansion into China was not only driven by low cost efficiency seeking, but also infrastructure support, a growing local market, and strong supporting industry. Domestic competition and government policies also created an environment conducive to Apple growth in China. Let's explore Apple strategy in the Chinese smartphone market, a highly competitive and dynamic market, using 5-quarter forces model. I will start with demand analysis to understand customer needs and user data. Then, I will evaluate the competitive landscape through Porter's 5 forces and conclude whether Apple is dominant. Next, I will discuss regulation that affect value creation, followed by value preservation, profit, people, planet, and value capture, cost structure, and revenue stream. All analysis is supported by reliable data and citations. Let's get started. To understand Apple positions, we need to analyze demand, which reflect customer needs and behavior, supported by up-to-date data. So, in user data and market share in 2024, based on Canalys and Counterpoint Research report, Apple have 15 and up to 17% market share, with shipment of 42.9 million iPhone units in 2024. Apple dominates the premium segment with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, reaching an individual model market share of 4% in April 2025. Second is Huawei. Huawei leading with 16% up to 19.4% market share, shipping 46 million shipping 46 million units, driven by Pura 70, Mate 60, and Nova series model. Next is Vivo. Vivo have 17% market share with quarterly shipment of 12.9 million units, leading in the mid-range and premium segment. Next is Oppo have 15% market share, shipped for 42.7 million units. Oppo also strong in mid segment. Xiaomi have 14% market share up to 13% in 2023. Xiaomi also focus on mid segment. The total Chinese market smartphone in 2024 reached 286.2 million units, growing 5.6%. So, customer segment and demand characteristic, we can conclude that premium customers, the upper middle class in major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, value quality, privacy, and status symbol, accounting for the majority of flagship iPhones. Apple ecosystem users, around 20 until 25% of premium smartphone users are tied to the Apple ecosystem. iOS, iCloud, and Apple Watch, creating high loyalty. Corporate users, company in the technology and finance sectors choose Apple for security and performance. Millennial and Gen Z tech savvy. Young urbanities around 18 until 35 are brand conscious, wanting stylish devices with advanced cameras for WeChat and Douyin in China. So in this demand drive status and lifestyle, iPhone as a status symbol, especially in the premium segment. Uh, China citizen also see the price versus value. The premium segment is less price sensitive, but the mid segment up to 60% of the market compares value. So this demand challenge is price sensitivity. The mid segment prefers Huawei or Vivo, causing a 24% decline in iPhone shipment as early as 2024. Local brand dominates the mid segment in smaller cities. Apple excels in the premium segment ecosystem loyalties, but is challenged in the mid segment due high prices and loyal competitions. Okay, welcome to section 8, the final section of this presentation, business model canvas. So, let's explore how Apple creates sustainable value through its business model canvas. First, value propositions. Premium technology, seamless integration, and strong privacy features. Value creations. Manufacturing in Zhengzhou and R&D in Shanghai, and partnerships with suppliers like Luxshare. Value delivery. A mix of online and offline distribution channels including Apple retail stores, JD.com, Tmall, a big brand in China. Value capture. Revenue from both hardware and service like iCloud, App Store, and Apple Music. Environmentally, Apple aims for net zero climate impact by 2030 and push Chinese suppliers to comply socially, and it invests in labor standards and education. Economically, Apple generates high employment and tax contribution in China. Let's take a closer look at Apple's sustainable business model in China using the SMBC framework. The value creations involve key stakeholders. Apple engages a diverse range of stakeholders in China, including government, regulators, strategic manufacturing partners like Foxconn, Luxshare, app developers, retail partners like JD.com, Tmall, and environmentally conscious consumers. Key activities. Apple focused on continuous innovation in hardware and software, localizing features for China users like support for Mandarin language or input, local apps like WeChat, and investing in regional R&D. Key resources and capabilities: advanced chip design, proprietary operating system, iOS, macOS, tightly integrated supply chains, and ecosystem tightly infrastructure across Greater China. Next is value propositions, profit. Premium pricing backed by product quality and vertical integrations. People, support for educations, collaborations with local developers and employment generations in high skill sectors. Planet, carbon neutral goals in productions, renewable energy projects, and robust recycling initiative within China's factories. Next, value delivery. Customer segment urban professionals, affluent youth, creative industry, and tech-savvy customers seeking privacy, performance, and prestige. Customer relationship fosters via the Apple ecosystem, iCloud, App Store, Apple Music, WeChat integration, and exceptional after-sales service through Apple stores. Channel, omni-channel strategy via Apple stores like apple.cn, JD.com, Gmall, and official App Store platform. Value capture, cost structure first, heavy in investment in R&D, manufacturing infrastructure, environment compliance, and local partnership. Revenue stream, hardware sales, iPhone, MacBook, iPad, Surface, iCloud, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, accessories, and App Store combinations. So in conclusions, Apple's sustainable business model in Canvas is prime example of global local alignment. The company successfully balanced profit generations with people development and environment responsibility, ensuring long-term presence in highly competitive market. So, in conclusions, Apple's success in China exemplifies how modern invention evolved beyond classical economic theory by strategically navigating geopolitical, economic, and customer dynamics. While Smith and Ricardo highlights the efficiency behind Apple's production choices, Porter's perspective reveals the deeper role of innovations, brand power, localizations it in maintaining competitive advantage. Apple's dominance in China premium market is not simply due to cost advantage. It's a result of its ability to embed itself into China tech ecosystem while upholding its global brand identity. However, with rising geopolitical tensions, particularly the US-China tariff war, Apple resilience on China production and market access exposes strategic vulnerabilities that must be addressed with agility and diversifications. So, my reflective questions is, I know Apple is dominant in premium segment, uh, but they are not quite strong in mid-range because the local brands such as Xiaomi, Oppo, Huawei, and so that Apple launched Apple iPhone SE. It means special editions. It quite Apple could fight the dominance in mid-range. But my questions is, in the face of ongoing US-China trade tensions, how can Apple maintain its dominance in China premium market while reducing over-dependence on China manufacturing without compromising brand value, product quality, or market share? So that's all for me. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.